Hey guys, it's Shadowarty here, and I'm back with another 6th Gen Wi-Fi battle. Today we got a match against Shoyu. This match was another one of my battles from my stream, so if you guys want to check out my stream, the link will be in the description. I do stream pretty often, so please check it out. I really need some battles, so yeah. Also follow me on Twitter if you want to request a private match, send me a DM and we'll get something figured out. So, looking at my opponent's team, he's got a mono ghost team. That's pretty interesting. I'm kind of scared of that Chandelure. If it's choice scarf, it outspeeds everything on my team, so it's definitely a threat. So I definitely want to put up my rocks to weaken the Chandelure a bit. Gengar is always a threat. It's fast. It deals a ton of damage. And he's also got a Trevenant, which I'm kind of scared of because I have my own sub-seed Trevenant set. So hopefully it's not that one because that one can get annoying too. So why don't we get started with this match? I'm going to lead off my Bronzong because I want to set up my Stealth Rocks as fast as possible. He's actually going to lead off with this thing. Well, I forgot the name of this thing. I think it's Frostlass. There we go. This thing does carry taunts, so that's going to be a bit unfortunate. I think I decided to predict this and go for the Psychic right away, first turn. I figured I have my own Frostlass, so I knew they have taunts, so as you can see, that Psychic does like no damage whatsoever. I wanted that Psychic to do a bit more. I figured it might do maybe like 30–40%. It does a little bit less, kind of unfortunate. These things also do carry Destiny Bond, so I kind of have to watch out. I'm predicting the Destiny Bond right now, so I'm actually going to switch out and go into my Gallade now, as he's going to probably go for the Destiny Bond, which I think that he will. He actually goes for the Thunder Wave, a bit unfortunate because my Gallade is going to be a lot slower. Gallade has decent speed, so now that I'm Thunder Wave, that's going to be really unfortunate. I decided to just go for the Shadow Sneak. I want to take out this Frostlass. I figured that it would. I'm invested in max attack, so that should do a ton of damage. Unfortunately, he has the Curse Body, which does disable my Shadow Sneak. It's not that big of a deal. Shadow Sneak isn't stabbed, so whatever he wants to bring in, I'm probably going to end up switching out anyway. He decides to go into the Gengar now. Shadow Sneak, I don't think would have been too helpful anyway. If this was a bulky Gengar, it wouldn't have done much anyway. I decided to just go into my Bronzong. I figured he'd just go for the Shadow Ball. I wanted to take any special attack. Look at that damage. That does so much damage. That was very scary. And unfortunately, I think I'm going to let my Bronzong die now because... Actually, no. I think, yeah, I'm going to let my Bronzong die now. I probably should have went to Aromatisse to take another Shadow Ball to save my Bronzong for later. And I don't set up rocks for this match. So that's really unfortunate. I decided to bring in my Flygon now because I am Choice Scarf. I'm not sure if this Gengar is Choice Scarf, but if he stays in and I go for like an Outrage or something, that should kill. So he decides to switch out and go into his Jellicent, knowing that he could probably take any physical hit. I decided to just go for the Outrage. I figured it would do a ton of damage, and based on that damage, I don't think this is a physically defensive Jellicent based on that damage. And a Outrage is going to be a 2-hit KO, so I'm guessing he either didn't have anything to take an Outrage, or he just wanted to sack his Jellicent. Unfortunately, I do not get the 2-turn confusion. That's going to be really unfortunate because I'm going to be forced to stay in and go for another Outrage, as he can potentially just go for the Will-O-Wisp and burn me. So that's really unfortunate, as he does land the Will-O-Wisp, and now my Outrages are not going to do anything. That's really unfortunate because I'm going to be locked in to go for one more Outrage, and it's not going to do anything based on that damage. Look at that damage. That was like pitiful damage. And that's all because I'm burnt. And now I get the confusion, and I'm pretty much going to be forced to switch. I pretty much have a useless Flygon at this point, but I am Choice Scarf, so I should be able to outspeed the majority of his team. And as I decided to pretty much just go into my Aromatisse, I am a pretty good counter to the Sabeleye, and I can potentially scare him out with a Moonblast. So, he does go for the Calm Mind. That is really unfortunate because my Moonblasts are going to do a lot less damage. However, I think I have Toxic on this thing, but then again, I realize this thing has Magic Bounce. So that's not going to help me too much either. I think I actually did go for Toxic this turn, figured that he would maybe switch. He actually does go pull out the Switch Wedge, which is kind of cool, and he goes into the Gengar, which is a really good counter to my Aromatisse. Nice play on his part. I probably should have just went for the Moonblast for damage. Then again, I should have predicted the switch to the Gengar. I am going to be forced to switch now because I don't want to take a potential Sludge Bomb. I decide to bring in my Jellicent, knowing that he'd probably just go for the Shadow Ball, not the Shadow Ball, the Sludge Bomb. I do resist the hit, but I figured I wanted to see if this Gengar is Choice or not, because if he switches up his moves and goes for a Shadow Ball, I know this thing is in Choice, and I'm gonna bring in my Jellicent now just to see if he is. He actually does withdraw, so I'm gonna assume that this thing is Choice. Maybe Choice Scarf, because that Sludge Bomb didn't really do any damage at all. He goes into the Trevenant now. I go for the Scald, hoping for the burn. And unfortunately, I do not get the burn. So that's going to be quite unfortunate. a burn on this Trevenant would have been really useful. I decided to just go for the Will-O-Wisp. He actually stays in to my surprise, and I'm guessing he's going to go for either the Leech Seed or some kind of draining grass move. Like as you can see, after the Will-O-Wisp, that Horn Leech does not do any damage, and I can pretty much stall out this this Trevenant. Even with a Shadow attack, Ghost attack, it's not going to do any damage whatsoever now that he's burned. So burning this Trevenant was huge. I'm going to go for the Hex now. I figured I want to do a ton of damage. I figured this might kill, but unfortunately he lives like a slither of HP, and he goes for the Rest. I didn't expect him to have Rest. That pretty much tells me that he's probably the Resto Chesto set with his Harvest. So he could pretty much spamming Rest. He could just keep spamming Rest and then getting his berry back with his Harvest ability. And yeah, that's going to be really unfortunate now, because now he's going to be he can potentially go for another Horn Leech, and now that he's not burnt anymore, that's going to be pretty scary. He actually decides to switch now. I'm guessing maybe predicting me to switch as he goes back into the Sabeleye. Really unfortunate on my part, because I think I actually end up switching on myself, because I really didn't think I could actually... No, I actually predict the switch, actually, and go for the Will-O-Wisp. But unfortunately, he goes back into the Sabeleye, and then the Will-O-Wisp gets bounced back to my side of the field, but he ends up missing, so that's kind of funny. I decided to just go for the Scald, maybe hoping for the burn. I figured he doesn't have Heal Bell on this team, so... Yeah, so that Scald does a fair amount of damage, considering that I don't have any attacking EVs, and I don't get the burn there. Really unfortunate. That's 2 Scalds now and no burn, so it's kind of unfortunate there. He's just gonna keep spamming Calm Mind. He probably has Recover as well. I decided to just keep spamming Scalds, hoping for a burn or something. I just want to burn on this thing, cripple this Sabeleye a bit, as he does show me the Recover. And look at that, 3 Scalds and no burn. Really, really unfortunate. As he's just gonna keep spamming Recover. He really has no reason not to. At this point, I figured he can't hurt me too much. I figured he might have Dark Pulse. Actually, no, I think this thing, he has the Dark Pulse, so I'm not mistaken. I decided to bring in my Aromatisse now. I'm just going to keep spamming Moonblast at this point, figuring that he probably has no way of hurting me. Even if he spams all the way to +6, I do have Wish, and I do have Leftover, so I can just keep, if I predict correctly, I can just keep getting my HP back. I'm still curious to see how much a Moonblast is going to do to this Sabeleye, because if it does a pretty good amount, I should be able to take him down. So I actually decided to just go for the Heal Bell, just to cure all my whole team of any status moves, as he's just going to go for a Dark Pulse, which is not going to really do anything. You're going to see that damage. That's like laughable damage right there. I am max defense, max special defense, max HP, so I figured I could take any hit he wanted to go for. I resist his stab, so that's nice. I'm going to be forced to make him switch. He's going to go into the Gengar again. I do have the Moonblast, so I think I actually do go for the Moonblast this turn. This was probably a long time coming. I probably should have just went for the Moonblast earlier and deal as much damage as possible, but he finally brings in the Gengar, so I'm going to be forced to switch out now, because whatever he goes for, I'm going to go into my Jellicent, I believe, because even though he's probably going to go for the Shadow Ball, I have to just keep forcing this thing to keep, so he can't switch up his moves. I decided I should go for the Venusaur. Not my smartest play, because he does go for the Sludge Bomb. And yeah, that's going to be really unfortunate, because I probably should have just went into my Jellicent. And now he could pretty much 2-hit KO me. So I'm actually going to stay in just to see if he would over-predict and predict a switch. And a Shadow Ball is going to be enough to take me down. That he does get a crit. I don't think that mattered. And that actually shows me that he is not Choice. So that's really nice. This whole time he was bluffing the Choice Scarf, and he doesn't even have it. So I'm going to bring in my Flygon now. I know that he really has nothing else to go for. He decides to go into the Chandelure now. I thought that was pretty surprising, because this Chandelure probably would have been useful for later. And an Outrage isn't a 2-hit KO, but since I'm locked into Outrage anyway, I'm going to go for another Outrage, and that is going to be a 2-hit KO. I'm sorry, it wasn't a 1-hit KO. So at this point, I do get the 2-turn Confusion, which is nice, because if he brings in Sableye now, I can potentially switch. So at least the Chandelure is gone. I did take down one of his Pokemon, so that's going to really help. I didn't set up rocks, so that's really nice for me, knowing that I took down the Chandelure. That I went for Heal Bell earlier, so my Flygon did lose the burn. That's why I went for the Heal Bell earlier. I didn't remember why I went for Heal Bell when I was recording this match, but then I realized I did have a burnt Flygon on my side of the field. He does go for the Will-O-Wisp. I figured I'd just go into my Aromatisse again, because why not? I mean, I pretty much walled this Sableye pretty well. He really can't do anything to me. I figured if I go for a Moonblast, he's probably just going to end up switching out to his Gengar. And you know what? This Gengar still takes residual damage from Moonblast. Not residual damage, it just takes damage from Moonblast. As long as he just keeps bringing it in, I can just keep spamming Moonblast and deal as much damage as possible. And then I can just bring in my Flygon to a point where a Outrage might kill. Not even an Outrage, I could just go for a Fire Punch and it still might kill because Gengars are pretty failed depending on what he's invested in. So I figured I should probably just sack my Jellicent at this point instead of sacking my my Venusaur earlier. That probably would have been the smarter play because I really have nothing for this Gengar. He goes for the Sludge Bomb, as you can see. It's not really going to do anything, but next turn he can go for the potential Shadow Ball. I'm not sure if a Shadow Ball will kill because I am still max HP. Even though Shadow Ball is max, even though I'm max HP, I don't think I can take it, actually. I don't know what I'm talking about. My Jellicent is going to go down, and I can potentially bring in my Flygon once again. At this point, he's going to be sacking another Pokemon, because I can just potentially just go for an Outrage, and it should deal massive, super effective damage. I actually decided to predict the switch and go for the U-turn. Not the smartest play on my part, because now I'm going to be forced to sack another Pokemon. Really unfortunate there. I should have just gone for the Outrage. Not my best play at all. I decided to just go into my Gallade, figure that he would probably Shadow Ball or Sludge Bomb. I am Assault Vested, so I should be able to take at least one. He actually goes for the Dazzling Gleam, and you know what? It's going to do quite a bit of damage. Unfortunately, it's not Stab, so I can just go for the potential Shadow Sneak. And yeah, so he goes into the Sabeleye again. The Shadow Sneak isn't going to do anything because Sabeleyes are really, really bulky, really, really annoying. And yeah, this you're going to see the Shadow Sneak is not going to do any damage. This Sabeleye is a threat, guys. It really, really is. I'm going to be forced to switch again, going back into my Aromatisse. At this point, I have to keep my Aromatisse alive for his Mega Sabeleye. So, yeah, so I figured I'd just go. He actually goes for the Will-O-Wisp. I figured it doesn't matter what he goes for, he can't take me down in one hit. I figured at this point he's probably going to end up switching out again, so I figured I'd just go for the Moonblast again. Yeah, so he's going to pull a switch again, go into his Forsaken, his Gengar once again, and I believe a Moonblast should be enough to take down this Gengar finally. So I believe the Gengar does die. Actually, no, he lives with like a slither of HP, so that's actually really unfortunate. At this point, I have to sack another Pokemon because at this point, I really cannot do anything. I think I just decided to sacrifice my Gallade because at this point, after my Gallade does go down, I can bring in my Flygon and just kill him with like a U-turn or something. So yeah, I do bring in my Gallade now, as he's just going to finish me off with whatever move he wants to go for. He goes for the Sludge Bomb. It didn't matter what he went for, it's going to kill me. My Gallade is at not a high amount of HP, so there's no way it could take any damage. Now I can bring in my my Flygon once again, and I actually decided to just go for the Fire Punch. I was kind of scared that U-turn might not kill, because I really didn't want to risk it, because I need my Aromatisse alive for his Sabeleye. So he brings in the Sabeleye once again, and at this point, I figured I'd just switch out again. I don't want to stay in. I don't think I can kill this Sabeleye. So, yeah, I decided to go back into my Aromatisse now, and I can pretty much take any hit he wants to go for. Unfortunately, I am burnt, and I am going to take Stealth Rock damage. He's actually going to make a nice double and go into his Trevenant, I believe. Yeah, so that's a really nice play on his part, because now I really cannot do anything to this Trevenant, like literally at all. But I figured if I go back into Flygon, like what can he do to me? The only problem is I keep taking burn and Stealth Rock damage. That's the only thing that's crippling me at this point. Yeah, I decided to bring in my Flygon now. I figured he wouldn't go for the Will-O-Wisp because I'm already burnt. So he does go for the Power-Up Punch, you know, whatever. I decided to just spam Outrage now. Now I'm at the point where an Outrage should kill if he's not invested in max special defense. And he goes for the Shadow Ball, and that's really, really unfortunate, because now what's going to end up happening is he's going to bring in the Sabeleye now, and then Outrage isn't going to really do anything at this point, because he's probably invested in max defense, so he should be able to take at least one. The only thing I can bank for is if I don't get the 2-turn confusion, and of course, what do you know, I get the 2-turn confusion. It all comes down to this: if Flygon hits himself in confusion, this match is over. And unfortunately, I do hit myself in confusion. Really, really unfortunate there, because I am going to lose my Flygon. Had I not hit myself in confusion, I think I would have won the match. So I go into my Aromatisse now. I am going to take unnecessary Stealth Rock. Not unnecessary. I'm going to take Stealth Rock damage. And at this point, a Moonblast is going to be enough to take on the Sabeleye. And yeah, so his final Pokemon is that Trevenant, and if I can outspeed the Trevenant, this should be my match. This is a really close match, and whoever outspeeds is going to end up winning this match. If he doesn't have any speed EVs, I'm not sure if I can outspeed. I'm not sure how much speed I have and how much speed he has. So I don't know the base speed of either Pokemon. So the burn actually takes me down to 6 HP, and unfortunately, he does outspeed and goes to the rest. So that is going to be the game because a Moonblast isn't going to be enough to take down this Trevenant, and I'm going to die to my own burn. So that is going to be a 1-0 victory in my opponent's favor. That was a really nice match. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this match. If you did, leave a like, a favorite, and a subscription, and I will catch you guys in the next one. So you're going to see here, he's going to take me down. The burn is going to take me down, the last burn, and that is going to be the game. So hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I will catch you guys in the next video. So this is Shadowarty signing out. Peace, guys.